Welcome back to the Stretch the Floor podcast. I'm Matt and I'm here with Venush, and it's December 1st today at the time of recording. So we are officially 22 days away from the NBA starting what is probably going to be the weirdest and most unpredictable season in history. But one thing we do know is that every year, more than any other sports league in the world, the NBA brings us more storylines, more drama, more breakout performances than any other sports league in the world, like I said. So I think today, a couple weeks before the season starts, it's a good time to sit down and kind of talk about and predict what those storylines and breakouts are going to be. And I think the best way to do that is to just predict the NBA awards, because I think the NBA awards pretty much every year reflect the breakout performances, storylines, drama, all that stuff from the year. So I think we're going to go over the 7 major awards, talk about our top 3 candidates for each award, who we think should win it, who should be the betting favorite maybe. Yeah, I think we should just get right into it. Let's start with the fun one, Rookie of the Year. Give me your favorite and your top 3.
So for my top three, I have Killian Hayes. At 2, I have Obi Topping. And at 1, I have Lamella Ball.
Okay. Mine's a little bit different. I think I'm going number 3, Lamella Ball, and then number 2, I have Obi Toppin as well. And I think James Wiseman should be the favorite for Rookie of the Year.
Ooh, okay.
Okay,
Yeah, okay,
so
so let's talk about
yeah.
LaMelo, someone we both have. I have him as the favorite. You have him as number 3.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason he's here, he's going to start. He's going to start next to solid veterans. And Devontae Graham had a MIP type year last year. Gordon Hayward, even though he is overpaid, is still a solid player. He averaged 17 and 4. With more opportunity, he could probably step it up to 19 and 5. They have good wings in PJ Washington and Miles Bridges. They don't have a center, which is an issue, and it's going to cause them to lose games. But LaMelo has people to pass to, people that will score. He has people that won't get him double teams. So he will probably face single coverage for the whole season, and he's going to have all the minutes in the world. So it's his award to lose, in my opinion, because he has everything going for him. He has a team that's good enough where he won't get doubled, but bad enough where he'll get the ball every single play.
I definitely agree. Are you 100% sure that he's going to start the whole year though? Because as of right now, on their depth chart, at least on ESPN.com, he's listed as the backup point guard behind Devontae Graham.
Yeah.
I would
Like,
start him personally.
yeah. Like, are you going to
Yeah,
start 2 6'1" players? Like, are you going to start Terry Rozier
yeah.
and Devontae Graham? And, like, I know Terry Rozier did leave the Boston Celtics because he wasn't starting,
Mm-hmm.
but I think you sit down and talk to him and be like, hey, like, we're not going to win a championship. We'll try to move you in the trade deadline, but you have to just become the best sixth man that you can be. And I think he'll get moved midway through the season.
Yeah, I think the thing is, can't you see this season going kind of like Trae Young's first half of the season when he was on the Hawks? Just the numbers, but the efficiency just being terrible. The thing that could change
Yeah.
that, like you said, is that they're a better team than the Hawks were when Trae Young was drafted. So maybe, like you said, not being double teamed, having more
Yeah.
options to pass to and set up. Yeah, I can definitely see that. I just think I feel like he's going to average like maybe 16, 7, and 7 or something,
Yeah,
maybe more.
that's
But I
exactly
feel
what
like
I'm
he's going to
predicting
shoot
too.
like 40% or 38% from the field. Like, I don't know if that's going to be able to get it done.
Yeah, for me, that's the rookie of the year this year.
Mm.
16,
Okay.
7, 7 on
Okay.
38%.
Okay.
Like, I don't know if you're expecting Wiseman and Obi Toppin to do better than that, because I clearly am not. But
Yeah.
16, 7, 7 on even like 30%, not even 38%, I think is rookie of the year. I
Really.
think
Okay.
I think it's gonna be a slow first year to start for these guys.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think there's gonna be a Luka Doncic. I don't think there's gonna be a John Morant type rookie where they're like taking the league by storm. And I think 16, 7, 7 is great statistically. And I think they're just gonna look at that. They're gonna be like, yo, LaMelo brought in fans, he brought in viewership, he changed the culture of Charlotte. They became a fun team to watch. They're gonna give him the award.
Yeah, I definitely agree that there's like going into last season, we knew it was going to be Zion or Ja winning Rookie of the Year. Like we just knew.
Yeah.
There's 6 or 7 guys who could win it that you could tell me are going to win it, and I wouldn't be surprised right now. Like let's talk about Obi Toppin, I guess, because we both also have him. I think he's like we said in our big board and our draft and everything, mock draft. He's the most polished and NBA ready offensive player in the draft. He's a terrible
Yeah.
defensive player, and he sucks
Yeah.
on that end. But he's going to go in and be the next best offensive player right away, like by far, I think. Like I think he's
Uh,
by far their best offensive player, better than RJ Barrett. Like he's
Obi Topping? Yeah.
Obi Toppin.
But like, is he gonna start?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
They drafted another power forward when we all made fun of them for having like 17 power forwards on the roster last
yeah.
year. But I think he's whether or not he starts, he's going to be playing like 30 minutes a game, especially with the coach they have.
hmm
And I don't know. I can definitely see him averaging like 20 points. Like I can totally see that,
Yeah,
like 18 points.
I just think Obi Topping's not gonna start in the beginning half of
Mm,
the season, and he's just gonna be so like bad in the beginning half of the season because he's not gonna start. He's not gonna have time with RJ Barrett and Mitchell Robinson. He's gonna have time with like Kevin Knox, which is gonna be tough for him. He's gonna get double teamed if he's on that bench unit, and I think like until Randall gets moved, he's not going to
mm.
make his case, which is why I'm at number 2 because I think he'll have a great second half once Randall gets moved.
Okay,
I
that's
think
fair.
he'll be putting up 16, 18 points, but I think his averages will still look weak. I think he'll be around the 14 range because he'll have such a poor first half, like only 12 points type of this season. And then once Randall moves, he's gonna bounce because they're gonna have to start Randall. They're gonna have to play Randall
Yeah,
because you have to show that he is worth
a
like
trade
getting on
asset.
your team.
Yeah,
Yeah, he had to show
yeah,
him that he's a positive asset. And
yeah,
then if they don't start Mitchell Robinson this year, like he's a free agent next summer and you're gonna upset him and he's gonna leave. Like if you don't start
yeah.
him after all these years, he's just gonna be like, you know what, New York's not for me. Trade me or get me out of here. And that's the least you want because your building cores are Mitchell Robinson, Obi Topping, and RJ Barrett.
Yeah.
And you really don't want to upset Mitchell Robinson on a 1 year deal, and you'll be more likely to upset Obi Topping, who's still on a 4 year deal.
Okay, that's fair. Yeah, I agree. Okay, so I'll talk about Wiseman because I have him as the favorite, and the reason I think he's the favorite is I think he's going to start right away. I think he is the only 7-footer on that team, so he's going to get a lot of boards, a lot of blocks. He's going to get a lot of putbacks, a lot of pick and roll with Steph Curry. He's going to a lot of rim runs and stuff like that, and he's going to be efficient. I think, and I just think he's going to start off probably not putting up huge numbers, but I think by the end of the year, once he develops that, if he stays healthy, if the whole team stays healthy, he could he be the second option by the end of the year? Like,
Oh, that's disrespectful.
I don't know, like
Like,
third
like
option?
you have to remember, even though Wiggins, you like people are gonna say he sucks. He's never averaged below like 18 points.
Yeah.
So unless you expect James Wiseman to average 20 points, which is so much to ask, like I'm not expecting that much from him. I'm expecting like 16, 14, and like
Yeah,
10
that's what I'm saying.
rebounds.
Like I can see him averaging like a 16 and 10 on like better efficiency than Lamella Ball is gonna have. So wouldn't that
Yeah, I just don't think you'll get up to 16 for the seasonal average because
mm,
they have Steph, then they have Wiggins, then they have Kelly Oubre, and then they have Wiseman, but then they also have Eric Pascal, Draymond Green.
yeah.
Like even though this isn't a championship contending team, it's still a playoff team, and it's better than any of these other rookies teams. So I just don't think he'll have the opportunity, even though I think he'll have the best rookie year because
Mm.
like he'll contribute the most to winning. He'll have all those advanced stats like PER and stuff. He just won't have enough statistical backing to get him into this category.
I can see that. I think the Clay injury actually kind of elevated him for me because
Yeah,
if Clay was there and they were going for a championship, which obviously now they're not looking like a championship team, he was not going to be able to play through the mistakes on the defensive end and stuff like that. I think he's going to have a green light, play through mistakes, develop, and play a lot of minutes. And I think he's going to put up at least good raw numbers. I don't know about the efficiency. I don't know about the
yeah.
defensive impact, but I think he's going to put up pretty good looking numbers on the stat sheet. And I think
See, you say he's gonna have the green light. You think he's gonna close fourth quarters for them? I really can't see that happening. I see Draymond Green moving to the 5 and Eric Pascal coming. Like this is the West we're talking about, and if they slip up a couple of those close games, they can miss the playoffs. And Steph Curry missing the
okay,
playoffs in his prime will be so bad for his legacy.
that is fair. That is fair. But
I just don't think he has the green light like these other rookies.
okay, so maybe he definitely does not have as much of a green light as Lamella Ball and Obi Toppin are
Yeah,
probably going to have, but he's going to have somewhat of a green light when he's in there,
yeah,
and he's going to be contributing to high quality playoff basketball. So I guess there's a trade off there. Which one would you rather have?
yeah. And the guy we haven't talked about yet, Killian Hayes,
Yeah.
opportunity. He's the he's like the poster boy for the Detroit Pistons. Like It's him in the center of the season tickets,
Yeah,
and Derrick Rose and Blake Griffin next to him. Like
the
he
non-existent
is,
season tickets.
yeah, he is the guy for the future. He's gonna do whatever he wants. I think he's gonna have horrible efficiency. I think he's gonna have a
Same.
horrible turnover rate,
Me too.
but I think he's gonna show potential, and I think he's gonna average like 15 and 7 assists, and I think he's gonna be like in contention, just not like better than Lamelo. I think it's gonna be a very similar situation to Lamelo because
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah.
yeah, like Blake is kind of like Gordon Hayward, injury prone star. You still have Derrick Rose, who's like another injury prone star who could kind of emulate Terry Rozier. You have Mason Plumlee, who's not a great big man, but he's better than Cody Zeller.
Mm-hmm.
And then you still have your other rookies like Sekou and Tyler, Sadiq Bey, and like you have enough guys on the roster to get him enough assists, and I think he'll be up there. I just don't think he'll beat Lamelo or Obi topping.
Yeah, I don't think he has the same like ability to just put up numbers by himself as Lamella Ball. And
Yeah,
although I do like some of those weapons that you listed, I think we've said before he's a guy who needs spacing, he needs shooting around him. And I think that efficiency could look really, really, really bad if he doesn't have that spacing. But who knows? Like you're definitely right. Depending like on the coaching and on the how the year goes, maybe some guys get traded. I don't know. And
yeah,
maybe he surprises us by not being as bad going to his right hand as we thought.
yeah,
And if that happens, yeah, I can definitely see that for sure.
yeah. And he's got one of the best mentors for him in
Yep.
Derrick Rose.
Yep.
Like, if Derrick Rose is helping you learn how to attack the basket and read plays, with Killian Hayes' natural playmaking ability, like he could be a superstar in the future.
Yeah. I definitely see that. Okay, so that's it for rookie of the year. Excuse me. I think let's talk about executive of the year now because that's kind of all that's going on right now with trades and free agent signings. And I personally think there is someone who's like not
Yeah,
even close, head and shoulders above the rest of the pack. And for me, that's Rob Pelinka.
yeah, same.
And I think Daryl Morey should be number 2.
I
And
don't
I
have him.
think I think Sam Presti's in there, number 3. Even though his
Yes,
roster is horrible, the
yeah,
moves he made and just he's the best asset getter in the entire world. So I think he has to be in there.
yeah. Rob Pelinka's winning this award. I think we could both agree on
Not
that.
even close. Yeah.
I don't even think we need to talk about that. Sam Presti's my 2. He's your 3. And the person I have as my 3 over Daryl Morey is Danny Ainge. It's
Okay.
because I think he's going to use that trade exception that he just got midway through the
Man.
season,
Yeah.
get a star or get a player like Buddy Hield who could really contribute, and it's going to look so good because we're going to forget about all these moves and we're going to just remember, oh man, midway through the season, Celtics pick up Buddy Hield and he was averaging 18 points for the rest of the way and they got the
Mm-hmm.
second seed. It's just going to be a good narrative for Danny Ainge. Not enough to beat Rob Pelinka, but enough to get him into contention.
Yeah. I think that trade exception, what was it, 27.5 million
I think
that
it's
they
28 now, 28 million.
28 million.
Yeah,
I mean, that means they can at the trade deadline, like you said, maybe Buddy Hield, maybe Rudy Gobert. You never
Harrison
know. And
Barnes. Yeah,
yeah, for sure. That and like you said, there could be even though I think Rob Plinka's moves are better, even if that does
mhm.
happen, just a recency bias at the end of the season
Recency.
could definitely win him that award. The reason I have Daryl
Yeah,
Morey in there is I think he traded Al Horford. I didn't think Al
yeah,
Horford was a tradable contract, and he got it done. He literally got in there in like 2 minutes into his
yeah,
tenure as the GM or whatever he is in Philadelphia. Traded Al Horford, and I think their roster, at least on paper, looks the best that it has for those 2 superstars in pretty much ever since they've been there. So I think he has to be in there just for that.
yeah. But executive years, like Sam Presti won't win this because it always goes to a 1 or 2 seed.
Yeah, no, it won't go to Sam Presti.
So
Yeah,
like, it's gonna be Rob Pelinka's award to
yeah,
lose.
100%.
He's got it locked in.
So just to summarize Rob Pelinka's moves, he traded for Dennis Schroeder, gave up nothing for him.
Yeah,
He somehow convinced Montrezl Harrell to sign on the reigning 6 man of the year, coming off an almost 19 point a game season, or maybe it was 19 points a game. Convinced him to sign a 2-year, $19 million deal. I think that's what it was, right? 2 years,
yeah,
19. Picked up Marc Gasol, awesome
yeah.
veteran. Signed Wesley Matthews. Am I missing anything?
Kept Kyle Kuzma. Did all
Yep,
these
kept
great
Kyle
trades.
Kuzma. Got rid of JaVale McGee and Dwight Howard.
Yeah,
Uh, it's just, yeah, you
it's
don't really have to say anything else
it's
other than that.
stacked. Yeah,
It's completely stacked.
yeah,
Okay, so moving on, coach of the year next. I just did my top 3 first, so you give me your coaches first.
yeah. So my coach of the year winner is gonna be Frank Vogel. I think they're just gonna have
Really?
such a good record,
Yeah.
and with LeBron resting, I think the
hmm
narrative's gonna be like the Lakers rested LeBron and they still got the first seed. And I think two Lakers are gonna get a lot of credit for it. Rob Pelinka's one, Frank Vogel's one, another player which we'll name later is gonna be one as well. But yeah, I think Frank Vogel's gonna run away with this award because I think they're gonna get the first seed while resting LeBron, and I think that's gonna be such a huge narrative. Number two for me is Doc Rivers. I think the Sixers team is going to be top three, top four. And I think they're going to talk about, oh man, Doc Rivers came in. He made this team a championship contender, like until the playoffs, because they always change in the playoffs. But in the regular season, they're going to look like contenders, and
hmm
Doc Rivers is going to get a lot of credit for it. And number three is just Eric Spoelstra. I think the Heat are going to do well again, and I think they're just going to be like, hey, culture, Eric Spoelstra built this. I think he's going to be like the Greg Popovich from now on. As in, Greg Popovich was always in the top three for Coach of the Year. He didn't
Yeah.
win it a lot of years.
Yeah.
I think that's Eric Spoelstra now. He's going to always be in the top three. He's not going to win it a lot, but he's always going to be there.
Yeah. Mine, I definitely agree with that. Mine looks a little bit different than yours. I have Doc Rivers as number one. I think, like you said, I think Philly's going to be a lot better this year. I think their roster looks a lot better on paper. I think Doc Rivers is probably the best, obviously better coach than Brett Brown was, and he's probably the guy that's gonna get the most or get a lot more out of Embiid and Simmons. And also, I just think this year enough years have gone by. I think just naturally, even if he weren't there, I think they're just going to be a better team and they're just going to play better together, just their own improvements and everything like that. But I think he'll get a lot of the credit for the improvements and the team success that the team has. So I think he's not a lock, but I would definitely have it as my favorite. And I have a few other guys here that completely depends on how well their team does. Completely depends on the seed because it's very narrative based. So I think if the Hawks get like a top 5 seed, Lloyd Pierce could be in there.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
And if either of these teams get a top 2 or 3 seed, which is, in my opinion, unlikely, at least for one of them, I think Steve Kerr and Steve Nash could also be in there. And I think, like, if the Nets get a top 2 seed, I think Steve Nash is kind of guaranteed Coach of the Year. And I think even more for Steve Kerr. It's very unlikely that the Warriors get a top 2 or 3 seed, but if it happens, Steve Kerr is Coach of the Year.
Yeah, the Nets one will be interesting because they could get a top 2 seed, but Steve Nash might not be the coach anymore. So yeah,
Okay.
that's gonna be a big because they have Mike D'Antoni as an assistant coach, which is pretty weird having a really veteran, experienced coach as your assistant, and then having Steve Nash as your head coach. But yeah, that'll be interesting to see. The Nets are going to create a lot of headlines for this upcoming season.
Yeah. Yeah. So like I said, those ones completely depend on the seed because I can see it going either way for all three of those teams that I said. But I think I think Philly will be a comfortable top 3 seed in the East.
Yeah.
Like you said, and I think Doc Rivers will rightly get a lot of the credit for that. So I think that's why he'd be my favorite. All right. So do you want to do 6-man next?
Yeah, we'll do 6-man next.
Cool. All right. Okay. So we said we were going to find 3 options for all these, but I only see 2 realistic options for this one. I think it's either going to be the recently moved to the bench Danilo Gallinari for the Hawks.
Yeah.
Or Montrezl Harrell again. Those are the only 2 options I can see.
So you don't even have my favorite. So yeah.
Really?
Danilo Gallinari is my number 2 because I think he's the best bench player. Montrezl Harrell is my number 3. LeBron will rest. He'll get a lot of buckets.
Exactly, yeah.
He'll score. But I think since LeBron's not going to rest every game, obviously, his numbers aren't going to be that good when LeBron is playing. But he'll still have enough to push him into the top 3. I think Dennis Schroeder is going to start, so he won't be in this award.
Exactly.
I think Lou Williams has aged, so I think he's finally not going to be in this award.
I think this is the year Lou Williams falls out of the top 3.
Yeah, but my number 1 is Norman Powell.
Oh,
and I do not know how you can have him not even in the top 3.
I absolutely love that.
He's going to be a 17, 18-point scorer because he was 16 last year. So he's going to get 2-3 more points. He's going to be the number 1 bench scorer in the league, maybe him or Gallinari. He's going to make more than Gallinari. He's going to be a better defender. He's going to close games because I think OG will play the small ball 5. And I think he has so much opportunity. And if the Raptors get a top 4 seed, there's going to be all Norman Powell talk. They're going to be like how Norman Powell was able to hold down the bench by
Yeah.
himself,
Yeah.
make these young guys like be useful rotational players, and like it's going to be a lot of credit to Norman Powell.
I mean, and this might be biased because, as everybody knows, we're both Raptors fans. But I think you could make the argument that without injuries last year, Norman Powell could have won Sixth Man of the Year last year because I
Yeah,
think, correct me if I'm wrong, he won Player of the Week at
yeah.
least once,
He
and
was the longest reigning player of the week in NBA
yeah,
history
yeah,
because
like
the
a
breakout
five and a
era.
half month Player of the Week,
Yeah.
and he literally like that week he literally was averaging 30 points, and then I think he went down with injury 4 or 5 times during that season.
Yeah.
So he's not the most durable guy in the world, but yeah, I honestly I kind of love that. I can definitely see that.
Yeah.
For me, like you said, Harrell's going to be able to play the same role as he did on the Clippers, but he's probably not going to be closing games too much. But he won't have as much of a defensive responsibility either. He can kind of just come in and get buckets whenever they need it. And like you said, LeBron is going to be resting, I think, a lot more than he has in recent years because of the weird season it's going to be. And he could be the second option some nights. Some nights could even just be Schroeder and Harrell, and he could be
Yeah.
the first option. Like you never know, right? So I think that's going to make his numbers look really good. And for Gallinari, I think this could be his most it's not going to be his best season, but I think it's going to be his most effective season because he's going to be able to
Efficient. Yeah.
come off the bench, only get buckets, not be asked to guard the best, because he's the best small forward on that team.
Yeah.
But he's not going to be able to be asked to guard the best forward on the other team. So he's going to be able to just come in off the bench, get buckets, maybe close games.
Yeah.
And he's just going to have a really, really fun, really effective season given that he stays healthy.
Yeah. The reason I have Norman Powell over Gallo is because you said it. It's a maybe Gallo will close games, because for Gallo to close games, Collins has to play the 5, and
Yeah.
we don't know if he's bulked up enough to play the 5.
Yeah.
We know Norman Powell will close games because we've seen OG Anunoby play the 5. He was gassed when he was playing it, but he did do it. And Siakam is bulking up to play the 5 a little more. So we know Norman Powell is essentially the 5th starter. Like he's probably going to play more minutes than Baines,
Yeah.
Boucher, whatever.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
I just think he has more opportunity than Gallo because he'll close games, he'll get more minutes, he'll get more playmaking opportunities where Gallo would just shoot. So I think he'll have a better overall stat line. Maybe Gallo will have more points, but it's going to be close between those two.
Yeah. And it seems like the Hawks are listening to us because I don't know if this is true, but the first time I heard that Gallo should come off the bench was on our podcast. So I think we're the ones who started that, and I think the Hawks heard that and moved him to the bench. So we'll take all the credit for that when he wins Sixth Man of the Year. Okay, let's do most improved next.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Or do you want to do something else?
No, we'll do most improved next.
Okay,
I might be seen a little biased here.
Okay. Did you go first for? No, I went first for 6 minutes. So you go first.
Yeah. Okay. So my most improved is going to show that I am a Canadian because I have Shea winning it. I have Jamal Murray getting second.
Oh my god.
And I have Andrew Wiggins getting third for most improved. A straight Canada 1, 2, 3.
Oh my god. I'm not gonna say that I didn't think about any of those guys when I was when I was making my list, but none of them cracked my top 3. But I do really love that. I do really love that.
Yeah.
Okay, so explain to me. Give me your reasoning.
Shai has literally Sam Presti and the Oklahoma City Thunder owner said, we're building on Shai. Name one other scorer that's going to score more than 12 points that you know confidently on the Thunder team is going to score more than 12 points.
Not Dort.
Al Horford, Dort, Bazley. Like, I think Bazley will crack 14, but that's my prediction of him improving. I think Dort will be around 14 as well, and that's my prediction of him improving. But these guys aren't scorers. So Shea's going to have as much shots as he wants. And this could be a nice 22, 23 point season, even 25 if he makes that jump. And that's most improved. And Jamal Murray, if he produces the same numbers he got in the bubble, that's most improved.
Yeah.
Like, that's all he has to do. I think this is the most, I'm surprised you don't have him because he doesn't have to show us something he hasn't done. He just has to do something he did the last 2 months and he'll win the award. So, like, he just has to repeat his bubble success, and he'll be in contention. And Andrew Wiggins, probably the most
I
hated player in the
yeah,
NBA, unjustly, but
yeah.
he's playing with Steph Curry, Draymond
Hmm.
Green,
No,
Golden State
yeah,
system, Steve Kerr, and he's a second scorer.
yeah.
He's going to average 22, 23, and he's going to be good defensively because now there's a reason to play defense, to win games, be in the rotation, be in the playoffs, maybe win a championship. So he's going to be a good defender, in my opinion. I think he's going to make a full 180 on the defensive end
Hmm.
with Draymond Green. I think we know he has the athletic ability to be the best defender in
Obviously,
the league.
yeah,
So I think
yeah.
he'll be up there defensively, and like all these guys, I think can average over 22 and be
Hmm.
good defenders.
Okay, so for Shea, I think I definitely agree. He's gonna have like a way better season than he's ever had. But Shea's kind of already regarded in the league as like a really good player and a really good prospect, and everyone kind of predicts that he's just gonna naturally get to that point. So if he has a really good season, uh,
But that
like
was like Brandon Ingram.
that's
Brandon
true. But
Ingram,
Brandon
the
Ingram was like
winner.
kind of a semi bust at one point when he was on the Lakers, and no one really knew if he was gonna hit those
What?
number 2 overall pick heights.
Yeah,
And he did eventually. So, but like I definitely concede if she averages like 25, I think it's a lock. But I think you would need to average 25 because
I think
I think a lot of people question whether he can be the best scorer on a really
yeah,
really good team. And if he shows that, obviously they're not going to be a good team. But if he averages 25, then I can definitely see that.
yeah.
For Jamal Murray, if he plays like he did in the bubble, that's not
That's his award.
that's like all NBA like first team like
Yeah, it's
type of play. It's his award. I don't think that's realistic. I know he has the ability. I think he's just one of those players who is going to just turn it up in the playoffs
but
and not be able to do that night in night out.
you're gonna name three players that you haven't seen do like what you project them to do. Maybe you've seen them do it for 1 or 2 games, maybe
Hmm.
2 weeks. We've seen Jamal Murray do it for 2 months against
Yeah,
playoff teams, against
yeah.
the Clippers, against Donovan Mitchell, against
Hmm.
the Lakers. So like, I think it has to. I think he has to be the favorite. I just put Shea over him because he's from Hamilton, and I just like him a little more. But I
Yeah.
think Jamal Murray has to be the favorite for most improved.
Okay, so like I think I look at this award a little bit differently. I look at it as like who is going to improve the most. So if you go from sucking to being decent,
Yeah,
then like versus being really good to being like really really
really,
good,
really good. Yeah.
that's kind of the guys I favor. So I have another for my favorite. I actually have another Jamal Murray's teammate, Michael Porter Jr. as my favorite. Um,
You're doing it again. You're doing it again.
what am I doing?
Rookies to second year players never win this award.
This will be his third year though.
But he didn't play their
He
first
didn't
year.
play. Yeah, he was a redshirt rookie,
Yeah, so he
whatever.
was considered
Okay,
a rookie last year.
okay, and then kind of probably the most boring, most improved player prediction ever, Thomas Bryant. I think has a chance.
Yeah, yeah.
And this guy low key had a really really good year last year, but I think Colin Sexton's gonna have an awesome year. I really think he's gonna be really good this year.
Really?
Like I mean, Colin Sexton scored 21 points a game on
Yeah.
38% from three last year, but I think he's gonna be the clear first option this year. I think the Cavs are gonna be better, and I think he's gonna average like more than that, like 23, 24. I just think he's gonna have a really good year. I really
No,
do.
I agree with you. I think he's gonna get that. But then I think they're gonna put. I think the big first take and Skip
Mm,
Bayless and stuff. I think they're gonna show Shea's stats
yeah.
from last season, which are under 21 points. And
Hmm.
they're gonna put Colin Sexton stats, and they're gonna be like, Colin Sexton got a 3 point increase. So it's just not gonna seem like a drastic enough
Mm,
change.
okay.
So like unless Colin Sexton takes the jump to like 27
Yeah.
and he becomes like
Like a superstar.
Kyrie, yeah, like a
Yeah.
superstar. Like I don't think he could win this award.
No. Okay.
Yeah, but I
So
do think he's gonna become a 24-point scorer. Like I'm super
yeah.
high on
So
him
that's
too.
why I have him as my third. I don't think he's gonna win it. For Michael Porter or for Thomas Bryant, I think it's just
John
Wizards are
Wall.
gonna be a fun. They're gonna be a fun offensive team, and I think he's gonna benefit from being the big man on that team.
Yeah,
Pretty plain and simple, playing with awesome guards,
yeah.
and he's gonna play a lot of minutes. And for Michael Porter Jr., he
Wait,
showed
wait.
flashes in the bubble.
Before we
Oh,
go to
sorry.
Michael Porter Jr., do you think Thomas Bryant's actually gonna play a lot of minutes though? Because there's a couple times when Scott Brooks just didn't play him at all.
Mm,
Like he went with Mo Wagner instead. But
yeah.
like I do agree with you. Whoever John Wall's center
Yeah.
is gonna get a lot of the buckets.
Yeah.
I just don't think Scott Brooks believes in Thomas Bryant like we do.
Yeah. and that's fair. They have more, like they have
Mo
Drew
Wagner,
Hachimura, they got
yeah,
Denny Avdia, they've got Davis Bertans,
Bertans,
right?
yeah,
So they could definitely go small and not play Thomas Bryant in the fourth quarter or whatever. So that is fair. But if he makes
yeah,
the jump and if he improves, like he's just going to benefit from just being on the floor.
yeah,
Yeah. Okay. So then for Michael Porter Jr., I think he's going to be asked to be the clear third option this year. And if he plays similar to Jamal Murray, if he plays like he did, at least offensively for most of his time in the bubble, I think he's going to average a lot, like 18 maybe.
yeah,
And if his defense comes, his defense is like in the bubble was almost
yeah.
unplayable. If it gets any better than that at all, which is a huge ask, that's a huge if. If it gets any better than that at all, and he's actually a playable defensive player, I think this is actually his award to lose.
Yeah, and like the most improved player of next season will be Michael Porter Jr.
Mm-hmm.
But Devontae Graham was the most improved player last
Okay.
season,
Yeah.
and he didn't get the award.
Yeah.
He's a rookie. He's going into his second year. Luka Doncic went to averaging 30 points in MVP.
Yeah.
Devontae Graham went from averaging 4 points to being a pivotal piece in the rebuild. Like, he's just not going to get the votes. Like, they're not going to give it to him. So yeah, I just think it's the Canadians' award to lose. One of the three Canadians.
Okay. Well, I will not complain about that.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's move on to six man. Or we already discuss
Defensive.
Let's do defensive. Okay. I think it's going to be the usual suspects in the top three again. Giannis, AD, Anthony Davis, Rudy Gobert. I also think Bam, Adebayo, and Ben Simmons could maybe be in there somewhere.
Yeah.
But I think this is AD's award to lose. I think the Lakers are going to be even better defensively this year with Marc Gasol. I think AD is going to have more versatility in where and when he can play, because if you want to play him at the 4, you can, because Marc Gasol is a good defensive 5. He can space the floor. At least we hope he can space the floor. Or AD can play the 5 in closing time if you want. He's not going to be forced into having to play one or the other. And he's just going to, I think he's just, like, we know he's going to put up the raw numbers defensively like he always does. And the difference between, like, the difference in these guys at the top of the defensive player of the year voting, like Giannis, AD, Gobert, it's so small that I think narrative and like kind of public opinion can influence it a lot. Voter fatigue. And how many people did you see on Instagram saying that AD got robbed of defensive player of the year this year? And I just think this is his award to lose, unless he has a horrible defensive year and averages like 0.8 blocks, which is not going to happen. It's his award to lose.
Yeah, it's going to be the top three guys again.
Yeah.
Anthony Davis 1, Giannis 2, Gobert 3. I think Bam 4. I just really wanted to mention him because I think he's really good.
Mm-hmm.
And
Ben Simmons maybe in there somewhere.
Ben Simmons probably in there. Giannis has 1.
Yeah.
Rudy Gobert has 1, 2.
Mm-hmm.
It's Anthony Davis' turn. Anthony Davis is basically, those three are the best three defensive players.
Yeah.
For like a while. They're going to be good for the next 5 years. So yeah, they're just going to be alternating this award, and I think it's Anthony Davis's time. Exactly. Unless he gets injured, this is his award to win.
Yeah, I completely agree. Yeah.
Like, I can't see him playing worse to not win, because Giannis has so much voter fatigue, winning 2 MVPs, 1 Defensive Player of the Year. Obviously, Rudy Gobert has voter fatigue, winning 2 Defensive Player of the Years and finishing top 3 another 2 times.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, Anthony Davis award.
Yeah, and he's not going to rest. Like, LeBron's going to rest probably. I wouldn't be shocked if he doesn't even rest though. But Davis is probably not going to rest at all. I mean, he might. He might, like, if he has any sort of injury at all, like any nagging thing, he's just going to sit probably. But I think like the clock is kind of, we'll get into this soon, but I think the clock is kind of like ticking on Davis winning an MVP. I think I think he's going to win one soon, and I don't know if this is the year, but it might be coming.
Yeah, I think Defensive Player of the Year is a lock for him.
Yeah.
And even if he plays like 58 games, I think he'll get it. Like, I think that's how much of a lock it is for him.
Wow. Okay. So we just have
MVP,
the last one. Okay.
Yeah.
Did I go first? It's your turn, right?
It's my turn? Okay.
I think so. Yeah.
So my number 1 is Damian Lillard. My number 2 is Luka Doncic. And my number 3 is Giannis Antetokounmpo.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. What are your top 3?
I got Luka at 1.
Okay.
I have Giannis at number 2,
Okay.
and I agree with you. Dame should be number 3. Yeah,
Oh, okay. Okay. So we got the same three guys. I was
yeah.
shocked by that. I really didn't think you would have Dame,
I think I
but
brought that up last podcast. Actually, Dame
yeah.
possibly winning MVP. Uh, okay, so I get
Let's
you go
start with
first.
Giannis. We'll start with
Let's
Giannis.
let's do Giannis. All right, fine. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So I have Giannis at 3. You have him at 2.
Mm-hmm.
I think Coach Bud's gonna be like, hey, I'm getting a lot of flack for not playing these guys enough minutes. Let's increase it to 3 minutes. And I think Giannis is gonna have Harden-esque numbers. I think like the numbers are gonna be crazy. I think it's gonna be like 34, like 15 rebounds and like 6, 7 assists. Like I think he's gonna have such crazy numbers.
I mean, those are the
He's gonna
numbers
be
he would have averaged if he played 3 extra
yeah,
minutes this year. So
yeah. So like statistically he's gonna be there. It's just voter fatigue that's gonna hold him out. He's gonna have the number 1 seed in the East.
mm-hmm.
Crazy numbers.
Mm-hmm.
Really good defensively. He'll finish second in Defensive Player of the
Yep.
Year. He'll finish top 3 in MVP, but he won't
Yep.
win an award because he needs to prove it in the playoffs until he wins these again.
Yeah, exactly. And Giannis is like one of the hardest working players in the league. We know he's
Yeah.
going to improve, not just the numbers, but we know like
His
not
game.
just for more playing time. He's going to improve. His game is going to get better.
Yeah.
He's going to have the numbers. He's going to have the team success. The only thing
And
is voter
efficiency.
fatigue, efficiency. The only thing is going to be voter fatigue and like not voter fatigue in like when Michael Jordan was winning all his MVPs and or like when LeBron was winning all his MVPs. Kind of more. Okay, so you're so good in the regular season, but you choke
Let's
every
see.
year in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Why do you deserve another MVP? It's more like that, I think.
I think
So yeah,
that's what was happening to LeBron too. When Derrick Rose won his
yeah,
first MVP, LeBron went on to win the championship, but that should have been LeBron's
yeah.
MVP. But
Okay,
Derrick Rose
yeah,
won it because LeBron was astronomically bad in that Dallas Mavericks finals, and he was never winning a championship. So like, it was basically like LeBron, we know you're the best player in this NBA, but like show
mm-hmm.
us, win
Yeah,
a championship and show
yeah,
us.
yeah,
And hey, if Giannis has the same path where a small guard wins it and then he goes and wins the championship, I think he'll be happy.
yeah, yeah. Exactly. Okay, so
Let's go
Dame
Luca.
Luca.
Yeah,
Okay, fine.
Luca.
Okay, I think Luca's in the perfect spot. I think his team is good enough to be a top 5 or 4 seed in the West.
That's what I disagree on.
I think he is, but he's also so far and away the best player on that team that he's going to get every credit for everything that team accomplishes is going to go directly to him. And if he can average the exact same numbers that he did last year, just with slightly better shooting efficiency, and this is his word to lose. And he's the most loved player in the league, I think, probably. Loved all around the world. I think this is his word to lose. If he gets a top 5 seed, maybe not top 5, maybe top 4. If he gets a top 4 seed, averages the exact near 30-point triple-double that he did last year, better 3-point shooting, it's his award.
Yeah, I just don't think Kristaps Porzingis is going to be healthy enough this season for a top 4 seed. So Luka's award depends on Porzingis. It's kind of ironic, but yeah, we know his game. We don't even need to talk about it. Like, he would be number 1 favorite in my opinion too. I just can't see them getting a top 4 seed when Porzingis is sitting out half the season.
That's true. I think there are trades that can happen for that team though, and
I think they're saving for cap space because their recent moves of getting rid of Curry, relying more on like their rookies like Terrell Terry they signed and everything. I think they're expecting to get a free agent like Paul George who just comes and plays defense with their 2 young European talents. Yeah, I just think KP, like he's healthy. Lucas award.
That is fair, but I think it could be similar to the Westbrook MVP when no one in the world thought that team was going to win a championship. Everyone kind of knew they were going to get bounced in the first round, but the numbers are just so good, and that has to be his award. Now, if he averages the exact same numbers he did this year, but with that same efficiency, I don't think it's his award. I think he's going to need to improve too, to do that. Shoot like 36.5% from 3 maybe.
Yeah.
And then I think it's his, like I said.
Yeah, I think just Westbrook Westbrook type of MVP award won't happen for a while because there's this guy named James Harden who puts up crazy stats and kind of desensitized us from crazy stats.
That is true.
Like he averaged 35 and we barely talked about him
Yeah,
in
like the
MVP.
fact that James Harden's going to average 36 points this year, and
Yeah, we
he
don't
doesn't
have him.
even crack like my top 5 for MVP. Like,
Yeah, he's desensitized the
yeah,
MVP voting.
yeah. Okay, so Dame, I think this low key could be a Dame MVP season. So give me, you
Yeah,
have a number 1. Why do you have number 1?
I think they could be the second seed in the West. I think
Yeah,
Covington,
it could
how
happen.
deep their team is, Derrick Jones Jr. I think like 30-point season for him,
Hmm.
plus all those additions and a second seed. I think that's his award.
I mean, he would like he was averaging MVP caliber numbers even this regular
Yeah,
season, and then in the bubble was just a different story. Now, like I
yeah,
don't want to overrate the bubble or anything, but we know he can play like that. And when I want to see Dame how hard he plays. He always plays. He always gives you 110%. You know that. I want to see Dame on a team that every night has a chance to win, and has a chance to be like a top 2 or 3 seed, like you said. Like I think we could see multiple 50-point games,
yeah,
60-point games. Like who knows? Like he could average 30, like you said. And with the team having the team success and everyone loves Dame, definitely could happen.
yeah. All the other guys, like they're just not gonna get a high enough seed, or they're just gonna have too much rest. Like LeBron rest, AD rest, Luka Doncic not high enough seed, Giannis voter fatigue, James Harden not high enough seed, Steph Curry
Mm-hmm.
not high enough seed, and that's kind of like the other 6 guys that we expect to be in front of Dame in this like
Yeah.
conversation. And I think Dame just has that perfect blend of no rest, because if he rests, they're gonna lose,
Yeah.
and a second seed, and they're gonna get a really high seed, and it's gonna be an MVP award. It's gonna be pretty nice for him because he's not gonna win a championship in Portland with his current
Yeah.
core.
Yeah.
So at least it's a nice consolation prize.
I think yeah, because Dame, like you said, he's not going to win a championship in Portland, and he's not going to ask out of Portland to win a championship elsewhere.
Ever.
So his
Yeah.
legacy might just be winning an MVP, and this could be it. He's not getting any younger, really. So this
Yeah.
it's not his last chance to win an MVP, but this is probably going to be the best
Best
chance he's ever
chance.
going to
Yeah.
have for sure. Um,
Yeah.
and I do want to just say that these 2 players are not in my top 3. But if I were
Yeah.
betting on the odds, I would put some money on Steph Curry and Kevin Durant on the MVP.
Yeah.
Just like I said, for similar to those teams' coaches, if those teams end up being top 2 or 3 seeds, if the Nets are a top 2 seed, Kevin Durant is guaranteed an MVP. Same with Steph
Mhm.
Curry.
Yeah. I just don't think Steph's gonna get a top 2 seed.
No,
And
he's
Kevin
not.
Durant, after Nikila's injuries, like
Yeah.
we know one person,
Yeah.
Dominique Wilkins. There's been how many of those injuries? There's been over 100 throughout all sports,
Mm-hmm.
and we know one person. So like, he is someone that could beat it, but I'm not expecting a
If anyone that could beat it,
yeah,
it's Kevin Durant.
yeah. But like, I'm saying it's gonna be an 80% Kevin Durant,
Yeah.
70% Kevin Durant, which is
Yeah.
still a
No,
really
no.
good Kevin Durant. Still 25 points, but it's
Okay, but
just not MVP.
what if it's 80% Kevin Durant, averages 25, but that team is just so good that they get a top 2 seed in the East? Is he MVP?
So
Like
let's say this.
what if it's clear that he's not 100% Kevin Durant? Is he getting MVP if he averages 25 and they get a top 2 seed?
It depends, because like he still has
Yeah, I
Kyrie
guess.
Irving though, right?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
still someone that's going to take away the success from him. Like he
Mm-hmm.
still has a second
Yeah.
superstar. Damian Lillard doesn't really have a second superstar. Luka
Yeah.
Doncic doesn't really have a second superstar. They have
Mm-hmm.
all stars. Same with Giannis. Giannis doesn't have a second superstar. They have all stars. They have CJ, they have KP, and they have Middleton and
Yeah.
Drew Holiday.
Yeah.
Like those guys can all not make the All Star team, and we wouldn't be shocked. Like if
Yeah.
Kyrie
That's fair.
Irving
That's fair.
if a healthy Kyrie Irving doesn't make the All Star team, we'd be super shocked. So I think KD and Kyrie is
Yeah.
kind of similar to LeBron and AD, where like they're so
Yeah.
good together that they take
Mm-hmm.
away votes from each other. And Curry was my MVP favorite last year,
Yeah.
but he got hurt. Like, is he gonna get hurt again this year?
Yeah, I
Like,
know. Yeah.
too much of a load. We know Steph Curry's aging. He's on the wrong side of 30. He doesn't have Klay Thompson to take that load off him. So I hope it doesn't happen, but another
Yeah.
injury might
Now,
be inevitable.
the thing is, like, I think last year they didn't straight up load manage Steph Curry, but I think every little tiny potential injury that he had, they're like, okay, like this is not a championship year. We don't have Klay. Let's not risk an injury to Steph Curry. Let's get a low seed so we can get a high pick. I don't think they can afford to do that this year. I think Steph Curry is going to play if he's healthy. I don't think he's going to get load managed at all. And I don't know, unless he gets like an actual serious injury, I think he's going to play all the time. And we all know he's good to average 28 a night, especially if he's by far the first option on the team.
Unless
And
Andrew Wiggins steps
yeah,
up.
unless Andrew Wiggins steps up. And I said Luka was the most loved player in the NBA. I think he's the second most loved player in the NBA behind Steph Curry. I don't think any player is more loved than Steph Curry. So, like I said, it all depends on the seed.
Yeah, it's just gonna be tough for the seed. Yeah, basically our MVP matchups are gonna come later on in the 2 weeks podcast episode when we discuss playoff seedings, because we have to be a top 2 seed to win an MVP. And LeBron and AD are going to take votes from each other and they're going to rest. Giannis, voter fatigue. We don't know who the East second seed is, and we don't know who the West second seed is.
Yeah.
So someone we never mentioned is Kawhi Leonard. Load management.
Yeah, like, is it even worth mentioning Kawhi? I think his legacy is just going to be winning Finals MVPs, winning Finals.
Yeah.
Never winning an MVP.
Yeah, it'll be crazy
because
it'll be crazy because we could see these guys like Dame, like Charles Barkley, Karl Malone, who have MVPs, but just couldn't win any success in the playoffs because their teams weren't good enough.
Yeah,
but we haven't really seen someone like Kawhi.
Right,
complete opposite.
How many players catch so much hate because they're amazing in the regular season, but are worse in the playoffs? I can't think of one player as like, oh, you're one of the best of all time in the playoffs, but you're not good enough when it doesn't matter, when it doesn't count.
Yeah. Yeah, but this is a big season. It's gonna be interesting.
No, definitely. Yeah, and like the thing is, like, the Clippers were guaranteed a top 2 seed last year. This past year, they're not guaranteed a top 2 or even top 3 seed this year. They're probably looking at a top 3 seed, but like, he's gonna have to work for it.
Yeah, and we also didn't mention Paul George, who last season he wasn't healthy, and the season before that he was top 3. So he has a lot to prove too. He said he was going to come back and prove everyone that he was an all-star.
That's true. I'm expecting a big Paul George season. I think people are overrating his playoff struggles. I think the bubble was like a really weird situation for everybody, and some people did amazing, like Dame, because they just, like Jimmy Butler, like, just didn't bother them. Yeah,
they're just focused. Basketball.
And some people it didn't help them at all, and it's probably not good to overrate it.
Yeah, the bubble put an uneven amount of mental stress.
Yeah.
Which is why we see the best bubble performance come with those people that always are talking about basketball. LeBron James, Jimmy Butler, Damian Lillard, Devin Booker.
Yeah.
Those guys that just breathe basketball.
Yeah.
Yeah, those guys who just constantly talk about basketball. Like, on all of their platforms, it's just ball, 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 ball.
Yeah.
And those guys who play basketball but have something else throughout the season as relief, like Kawhi Leonard's, they didn't have that good of a performance. Yeah.
So thankfully, there's no bubble for this upcoming season.
Yeah.
Everyone's playing in their own stadium except the Toronto Raptors, who are actually just flew
Tampa
to Tampa Bay yesterday, and kind of low-key upset that the jerseys don't say Tampa Bay, like you said to me once. That would have been kind of cool if their alternate jerseys actually said Tampa Bay, but
it would have been an iconic, one-off season jersey, which everyone in Tampa would have purchased.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that would have been a really smart move in the organization to make literally like a whole state, or like a whole like part of a state of fans.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Would have been crazy.
Yeah.
Especially with the designs that we've seen with the Raptors guy wearing a shirt and like kind of vacationing. It would have been pretty cool to see.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, so those are our predictions for the NBA awards for the upcoming season. I think that kind of reflects how the season is going to go, like which rookies are going to be exciting, which players are going to have breakout seasons, stuff like that. Like we said, the Lakers have, if they weren't already good enough, Rob Pelinka's moves have made them far and away championship favorites. And like you said, a couple podcasts from now, we're going to get into the playoff predictions. A lot of people can't really agree on where the Raptors are going to land. A lot of people can't agree on where like the Hawks and the Pistons and stuff like that are going to land. The Nuggets. So we're going to get into that very soon. And but until then, thank you for listening to this one, and be sure to come back next week
when we talk about fantasy.
exactly, because fantasy kind of forgot about fantasy.
Yeah.
I don't know how, but it's like, yeah, we're gonna get into like sleeper picks, who you should take number one, who you should take, just strategies and stuff like that. Because we play a
Yeah.
ton of fantasy, you probably get way too into it.
And
But yeah,
I have won the most fantasies between the both of us.
he
So
has, he has.
my
I
opinions,
always somehow end up trading my best player to him. I
yeah.
don't know how, but I always get like talked into trading him my best player. It's not gonna happen this year.
To be fair, the last 2 years where you traded me your best player, you performed better than me both those years.
That's very true. Yeah,
Yeah.
that is very true. Okay, but yeah, I think I traded you Dame last year. That's if I get Dame this year, that is not happening no matter what.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think I gave you like CP3, like Jaren
Oh
Jackson
yeah, you
Jr.
did.
and
Yeah,
a
yeah,
bunch of
yeah,
other players. So it was kind of a fair
yeah.
trade.
It was kind of fair. And like you
Yeah.
said, I think I did end up finishing higher than you.
Yeah.
Anyway, no one cares about that. So thank you for listening to this, and be sure to come back next week for fantasy, and the week after for what is. I think we'll have one more podcast after that before the season starts.
Yeah, which is
Um,
our playoff predictions.
yeah, exactly. So anyway, thank you for being here, and come back next time.